said if you look at somebody and you hate them, it's like you've committed murder in your heart. If you look at a woman and you got the hots for her, it's like, if you could have, you probably would have had sex with her, right?
Right.
I mean, if every woman that we wanted to have sex with would let us have sex with them, we'd be screwing all day long, and we'd be committing adultery all day long. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he said, if you look at a woman with lust in your heart, you might as well have committed adultery. You might as well have done it. And I've done that, and I've done worse. You know, I'm guilty. Somebody's got to pay that penalty before the judge. Yeah, judge, I'm guilty. But I hadn't done it in a long time. That's okay. You're still guilty, right?
Right.
Who's going to pay that penalty? You got it? You got the penalty? How are you going to pay for your adultery? What's the penalty? God said that the penalty for sin is death. You going to pay? You ready to pay your penalty for sin?
You know, John,
we all gonna pay sooner or later.
Well, God doesn't want you to pay for your own sin, and the reason you're like most people saying you are a good person, because nobody really wants to defend that they're a bad person. Would you agree?
Right. Nobody wants to make themselves look bad.
Everybody has a tendency to say just what you said. Are you a good person? Yes. But your nature is to compare yourself to some really wicked people that you may have known in your life or know of. And so in comparison to those people, I believe you are a good person based on their comparison to them. And you know, I could go find that person in a heartbeat if I wanted to look like an angel, so to speak. But God has a standard of perfection that He's put in your conscience, and He's written on your heart. And that's the law of God, in order for you to understand when you lie, you're a liar. When you steal, you're a thief. When you commit adultery, you're an adulterer. So your conscience, you have to be honest with yourself. Is today going to be the day that you admit sincerely to God, not myself, that you're not a good person based on those standards? Not your standards or my standards or your next door neighbor's standards, but God's standards. Can you say, after knowing some of the 10 Commandments, that you're not a good person based on those standards?
Right. Yeah,
so
I'll admit it.
We go back to the courtroom. You stand before God, and He judges you by, just say 5 of the commandments we went over. Would you be innocent or guilty?
Guilty.
And because He's a just and holy God, and He's perfect, and He must punish sin, just like the tainted water. Remember, He won't accept sin, just like you wouldn't accept the water.
Right.
Even though there's a lot of good in there, where would He sentence you for eternity?
You're guilty.
You're guilty of the crime. He's holy God. You have the law written on your heart and in your mind. You violated the law. Where should He send you for eternity based on all that?
Oh no, I can't answer that.
Is it something to think about, though?
Yeah, something to think about.
Did I make everything clear to you as best I could?
Let me tell you something, man, from my standpoint, brother. I know I'm guilty, and the point for me where I realized I couldn't fix my own sin, because up to about the age of 21 or so, I really thought if I screwed up, I could make it up. If I messed something up, I could fix it, I could clean it up. Well, my wife left me because I had cheated on her and done a bunch of shit. And I realized, I was looking at my life, man, I realized my daughter, my little kid, was going to suffer, and my wife was going to suffer, and I was going to suffer, all because of something I had sinned. And I couldn't fix it. There was nothing I could do to undo what I did and fix my relationship with my wife. My sin was something I knew I could never pay for. I knew I could see it, man. And that's for the first time in my life, dude, I realized that I didn't have the penalty. I didn't have the price. You know, when the judge said, yeah, you're guilty, he goes, how are you going to pay for your sin? I didn't have an answer, just like you. I don't have an answer. I'm guilty, and I should be in hell, because I've broken the commandments of God. But God said, you know, I tell you what, I'm going to make a way for the penalty for your sin to be paid for you. And all you have to do is accept the payment of this penalty.
Through repentance.
Through repentance.
Admitting that you're not a good person, when really that's...
I mean, the first thing you got to do to be able to accept this gift from God is you got to admit that you need it. If you don't need it, shit, if you're a good person, dude, you don't need God's gift. But if we need it, if we know that we're guilty, and we know that we can never pay for our own sin, then all of a sudden we realize we're doomed. We have no hope. And then God, through that doom, comes in and says, you know what, I've made a hope. Because of Jesus, because of what he did, and only because of what he did. See, he died, and he didn't sin. When Jesus died, he didn't do anything wrong, but he died anyway. So here's an innocent man dying for guilty people. So all you got to do, dude, is say, you know what, you need mercy. You can't ever go to God and say, you know what, I'm good enough to enter your heaven.
Because unless a person admits that he's drowning,
that's right.
A life preserver won't make any sense to him. Would you agree with that?
If you're drowning and you're in a swimming pool, you don't know how to swim, and somebody's trying to throw you a lifesaver, you know, you don't admit that you're drowning, you ain't going to reach out for that lifesaver, brother.
And see, right now you're having an issue with admitting, even though you've heard the commandments,
you got to admit that you're drowning.
You're still having trouble admitting that you're not a good person based on the standards of God. So,
because then there's no hope.
We have the cure. God has provided a cure.
There's a cure.
But you're not admitting
that you're sick first.
That you're sick. You're still admitting that you're good.
You think you're not. You don't think you need that cure because you think I'm healthy. Hey man, I'm drowning. It's okay. You know, it's fine. I'm just going to pretend I'm not drowning because I'd rather not think about the fact that I'm drowning.
You're not calling out for help yet, are you?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that could be.
Okay. Well, I hope I explained it the best I could, and George explained it the best he could. Do you have any questions about anything I said? About anything? You know that you could die today.
Right.
You know that you could possibly stand before God in your own sins and be judged for those sins. But you know what? If you said to him, I'm going to be just a little imaginative now. If you said to God, I am a good person, and he says, okay, hold on. Let's just click through your thought life, because I know all your thoughts that you've ever thought. I'm using my imagination a little bit. And he put all your thought lives on a big screen, just your thought life, all the things you've thought in your life. And he just started clicking them. Is that a good thought, John? What would you say to some of that stuff? What about that one, John? You see what I'm saying? What about that one? What about that one? And so you got 100 clicks in there. You know, you're going to stand before a perfect God, still claiming that you're a good person based on all the things that you've seen? I tell you what, you know, I want George and I just to pray to God. You don't have to pray with us unless you don't want to, but I just want to pray and just ask the Lord that hopefully today He'd open up your heart to receive what we've explained to you the best we could. You want to lead us in prayer?
Lord, thank you that you have made a way that we who are thirsty could come and drink, that we who are hungry could come and eat. But Lord, show us that we are thirsty, that we are hungry. And Lord, show us that you're there, that you're reaching out with open arms, just ready to accept us. Once we admit that we need you, Lord, we can never have you until we admit that we want you and we need you. Lord, as long as we think that we've got it in our own hands and our own strength, we'll never reach out for help. Lord, I pray that John today or tomorrow would see, Lord, that without you, he's got no hope, and would also see you as the hope that he has been searching for, Lord, that you have been leading him to this point. In your name I pray.
Thank you, brother. Good meeting you too.